Hi, and welcome to another conversation. I'm Debbie Clement-Large, and I'm an international creative life coach, and I'm a Heal Your Life teacher. And I am really excited today. I've got Alyssa Martin, my very good friend. Yay! She's a mystic coach, and she works on the basis of intuition and creativity. And it's really exciting because we are going to be talking about taming your inner critic to help you find inner peace. So that is such an important topic, our inner critic. We've all got one of those, haven't we, Alyssa?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't think it matters how much inner work that you have ever done, you still have a bit of that inner critic. And that's kind of our life's work almost, to be able to tame that critic.
Absolutely.
So how do...
Sorry? You have the coach.
Yeah. So what does the inner critic meant for you then? You know, what's because I've had lots of challenges over my life with the inner critic. Did you want to share yours, or shall I share mine? I don't mind really. Or
yeah, absolutely. From my perspective, I suppose I grew up thinking that you needed to criticize yourself. That's how you make change with yourself. So, I grew up thinking it was a certain amount of that was fine to do. And that's how, I would lose weight, or that's how I would, try new things out by telling myself I was wrong and bad in the way that I was. And so for me, I think that's one thing that Louise Hay really brought into my life, was an understanding with her 10 or 12 ways to love yourself, depending on which list you look at. And number one was to stop all criticism of yourself now and others, now and forever. And when I saw that, and the way that she explained it was that if you criticize yourself, and the changes are you may make changes, but they'll be, you're crushing your own spirit to do so, and your changes are temporary. And I definitely relate to that. And whereas if you say, I'm learning, I'm growing, it's okay, and kind of think of yourself as, how would you talk to a child? Would you say the thing that you're about to think to yourself, or that you are thinking to yourself, would you say that to your child? I don't have children, but I love children, and I wouldn't talk to them that way, So for me, it's definitely been something, especially I have a lot of background of anxiety, and I had panic attacks and things like that, that really this one simple rule, and just telling myself there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You just, can choose different now. If you don't like where you're at, okay, cool. Choose something different. Don't beat yourself up or make yourself wrong. And so it definitely, as you said, has been a practice, because even if I am well developed in a certain area where I feel like I have the confidence, I've turned down the critic, I've turned up the coach, and really I got my own back, so to speak. Then let's say I start a new job, or start a new task, or start something, it starts up all over again. I should be learning this faster. I should know this by now. How long do other people take to get this info? Maybe, and it starts up all over again. So it is a life's work.
Definitely. And it is a bit like you sort of said, it's a bit like having that inner parent telling yourself off all the time. And you can you ever do when you think, God, I sound like my mother? And you think, oh, whoa, that's a scary thought. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've beaten myself up, as a teenager, what I look like, I think it's all lessons you sort of learn as you're growing up. When my dad died, that was probably my mum struggled to deal with it. So I was hearing stuff about, that maybe she was struggling to cope and she wished it had been her instead. And, and then you start criticizing yourself for that, or maybe that's not because I'm good enough. And, and so it goes on. And, first failed marriage, then criticizing, well, maybe I didn't work hard enough. And when you stop and have a look, you kind of realize just actually you spend nearly all your time beating yourself up. And how much do we actually support ourselves and say, hey, Debbie, you've done not a bad job at all, really. Okay, it's been difficult and you've had a few challenges, but no more than most people.
And that's not allowed.
Yeah.
It's like almost, well, at least in my culture and where I grew up, that would be silly and conceited. If you saw someone saying, I did a great job, you'd be like, well, don't. There's sayings like be careful of those who think they're standing as they may fall, or something like that. I just butchered it. But so every time I did do something well and felt like you said, and that inner coach was like, oh, you do that really well. It's like, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. And when I think about it, when we want something, when we have an intention to get something, we want a dream house or a dream job or dream business or whatever it is, we've got to make sure that our thinking is in to what we want. And the more we criticize ourselves, it's a bit like, do you remember? I always say it like do you remember Dr. Dolittle when you had the push me pull you? Did you ever see that? But the two-headed llama, and I was thinking of it. The head one way was going in the direction of your dreams and the other head is going away from it. So when you talk and you are positive and supportive to yourself, you're moving in the direction of the things you want. And when you're being critical and being judgmental and blaming and full of guilt, you're moving in the direction and the way you don't want.
That's a good analogy. And I have felt that inner struggle. And even the more sensitive that you get to the words that you run in your head, the more you become, I guess, mindful is a word, or that you become the watcher and you go, whoa, I just heard what I said. When you can slow down and take a pause and you can start to hear them, the more you do feel that back and forth like you're describing. And I find that I do that a lot with even my husband. He is very he's got the personality of a Leo. He's a leader and he's confident. And so every now and then when we're doing things about the house or something, and I'm like, ooh, why did I do it that way? I insert his voice into my head. Now, he didn't say it, but I insert the critic into my head in his voice. It's the strangest thing. And then I will remember the Louise Hay affirmation that says, I approve of myself. And right back, I can go and sit and shoulder and feel like, okay, I didn't do anything wrong, It's the strangest thing because I am so used to the critic, and I don't know if anybody else has that, whether it's how I grew up. I did grow up in a strict religion where you were constantly checking your behavior, your thoughts, even your thoughts could be heard, and we were taught by, this other being, but really your thoughts can be heard by you.
That's scary, isn't it? That you spend your whole life trying to meet something else's expectations. And that's really fearful. You're not actually living anything for you at all. You're just, I don't know. Yeah, that seems really scary to me, actually. And then on top of doing what you think to, you're completely beating yourself up because, you're not quite good enough. And you're not alone. I mean, nearly every time I coach, that sort of thing always comes up, that critic, feeling guilty or never quite good enough, never deserving, never worthy, all those sorts of things, never really accepting yourself. It's almost the root of everything.
It absolutely is. And I think, like, to your point, when talking about our clients, the clients that I speak with, is the same way. And we have to be willing to let go of the ideal of like this superwoman or superman, if you're a man, that, makes a living, has the perfect career, has the perfect clothes, perfect makeup, and then you're going to come home and your house looks perfect and you're eating healthy and you, oh, by the way, you exercised and you took care of the kids and you took care of the pets, and then you're going to have a healthy sexual appetite and like there's all these things, and then you're like, oh yeah, I need to live my passion along with all that. And they're all wonderful things in our life, but if you're constantly critical of yourself, it creates so much fear and anxiety and just disappointment in your life. So the opposite of that is, you know what? I'm gonna let go. There is no perfect ideal. What's the perfect me? Like, how would I spend my day? I think I saw one of your posts the other morning that said, when you get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, would I want to do this? What I'm about to do today? Am I nailing it?
Yeah. And it is. You're absolutely looking in a mirror. If you can, if anybody can look in the mirror and say, actually, yeah, you're pretty good. I feel comfortable being you. And I'm willing to love myself, or I do love myself, rather than saying, my God, I've got another grey hair, or I've got another wrinkle. I don't like my, and we start criticizing the way we look, and that's almost like a cultural thing. And actually, the interesting thing is that it isn't, because I'm in the UK, you're in the US. So actually, it's not just it's a cultural thing that goes across all boundaries, really, almost, doesn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah. And so if you can get up and look at yourself in the mirror, it's so powerful. But there's a really nice exercise actually that I learned, which is, go through your day in your head. And how do you talk to yourself when you wake up? How do you talk to yourself when you're getting ready in the morning? How do you talk to yourself when you're maybe on commuting to work? And then during your morning, and then lunchtime, and then in the afternoon, and it's all that, you're just taking stock during the day, just running through that process, and then you're on your commute on the way home, and then having your meal, seeing your family, your evening, and then what's the last thing you say when you go to bed? And for most people, there's definitely negative stuff in there. They wake up thinking, oh God, it's another day. I've got to do this today. Oh no.
Absolutely. I've done that exercise too, and I did it at a point in my self-work where I thought I was doing pretty good, and it was really, really eye-opening. It's a great exercise to do. I love that.
So I don't know what you do to encourage your clients then to help turn their language around. Do you have any good exercises or anything that you could share with people watching?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is awareness. And when you do bring in the awareness, remember it's not another excuse to criticize yourself. You kind of separate yourself, so you have you, and then you have the you above you, or beside yourself. Be the watcher and just go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know I said that so much. Or how can I I think I'd like to change that. Like, be gentle, be soft. Just be try to think that this is all fluid. This can all change. This is nothing serious going on. And so if you can do that and kind of step back as the watcher, not using it as another excuse to beat yourself up, and then just start to listen. Sometimes you can, I love journaling. I'm a big writer. You probably are too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I would jot some of those things down, and then when you have, some of the things you'd like to change, and then construct them. Like, it doesn't happen overnight to where you get to be someone like Louise Hay, who can just pour out all these beautiful things like, my potential is unlimited, I'm beautiful and everyone loves me, and my flow freely with my creativity. And like, it doesn't just naturally pour out of us when we're beginning. You can get there, and you will get there with persistence And again, gentle persistence. But so write some of the things down. And in the beginning, I would absolutely rely on the affirmations that were written by other people. And then I learned how to take what I had said or what my belief was about myself or the situation. You mentioned wanting to manifest a house or a better job. And so at first, my mantras about my job were completely borrowed from You Can Heal Your Life or wherever I could find them. And I was like, ooh, I'll take that snippet and I'll take that snippet because that's the life I want to create. And I would put it all together and just really kind of focus on them. Doing them in the mirror is super powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that more and more, I collect crystals and we do incense and everything like that, but the mirror is a powerful metaphysical tool that we overlook, pun intended, all the time. So
yeah, it's definitely looking into your own eyes, isn't it? Yeah, and actually you can't get away from looking into your own eyes and saying something, because you just get that feeling of whether you're lying to yourself or whether there's something that feels uncomfortable, and then you think, oh, why is that then? What am I resisting, or what am I not doing? But I love what you said about being gentle, because that is so true. It's actually learning to let go of that beating up and actually think, it's okay. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to see something different. I'm willing to talk to myself a little different. But like you said, awareness, is the first thing, isn't it? It's just, we run our conditioning for so many years that you don't always realize it's there. And until you become conscious of that. And one of the things that I've got is a chart that you do over a day. And hello, doggy. Yeah.
That's my pup. He loves these conversations.
And so one of the things is I've got this chart, and you do it. You saw it like every hour, so you have like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and every during the day you write down what you're thinking about, whether you're positive or negative, what's gone on for you in that last hour, what's and how you're feeling about things. So it's really kind of it's a great way to be able to see what you're tracking your thoughts during the whole day, from when you get up to when you go to bed. And it's actually, it's quite surprising sometimes that maybe certain times of the day are better and more positive than others. But it's all, just like you said, it's about getting that awareness. That's all it is. And once you've got that awareness, then you can take affirmations, like you said. Louise Hay's got some great ones. She's got some books. But I like to free flow them. I like to sort of go with what I'm feeling and just get myself to that next better feeling place. And sometimes you can't take that massive leap. You just have to, especially if you're having one of those days, do you know what I mean, when you get up and you stub your toe and then you kick the dog and then everything just goes wrong.
I don't kick the dog.
No, neither do I, but
I know what you mean. And it's and then it's like one of like you said, there's a term for it. One of those days.
Yeah. And we've all had them. And then that's when your inner critic just goes off. I'm rubbish at this. I can't do this very well. And nothing ever works out right. And we just get into that victim consciousness mode. And it's about getting us out of being a victim and being able to take responsibility, because no matter what the situation going around us, we've always got a choice somewhere. And there's always a little bit of good somewhere that we can focus on. And just free flowing. I free flow. Oh, I feel really, I'm willing to allow myself to feel really great about this. And I know that I can feel great about this because I felt great about it before, and I've done this, and actually just keep talking until I feel my mood shifting. And I often do it when I'm out with a dog, because walking and in the fresh air and nature just seems to have that lift for me. It really makes a difference.
I love that, because you're starting where you're at. And that is a big point, especially, in my own practice and what I can key into other people now, especially those of us who have read a lot of these books and are on this kind of path. We can be we can fall into not allowing ourselves to feel the way we feel, and so we're trying to get right to joy all the time, and everything's great, and we're here to experience all the range of emotions that we can, and so enjoy the journey even when it stinks.
And sometimes it's actually, like you say, worth digging around in the bit that's not good to find out why, instead of trying to push yourself and sort of have that sticky plaster of, I'm going to say a load of affirmations, but actually to say, why am I feeling like that? What's going on? What do I need to face? What do I need to sort out? Is there anything that needs working on in order to be able to help me to get in a better feeling place? So sometimes there's a really good way for us to think that we've got a bit of work to do and what we can do about it. But we just need to allow that it's okay, and to feel, I'm just going to go with it and listen to it for a minute, and then I'm going to talk myself into a better feeling place. But allow yourself, like you say, to go with the flow with it a little bit.
Well, that's a good point that you're bringing up, that, okay, so some people that I talk to, or that might be watching this, might be saying, okay, so how am I ever going to, if I just remove myself from the thoughts and think only positive thoughts, how am I going to address the things in my life that don't work? And to your point, some of these things are, okay, let's dig in the trench and look around. And when would you say is a clear is there anything that you can think of that's a clear indication of, hey, pop out of this and go right to, go right for a positive thought, or, hey, let's look around and try to see why this is happening?
I'll probably always start with a little bit of, why am I feeling like this? Because we can all get days where we might have, I don't know, maybe a running anxiety, or you just don't feel, you don't feel your normal self. You just feel a bit sort of out of sorts. You can't quite, you don't know why, but you just, and sometimes, I can either meditate on it and contemplate during the meditation. Other times I'll do what you do and journal. And I almost might talk to myself. I'll make sure I do it when there's not people around. It could be when I'm, if I'm walking my dog Teddy, often around the woods, there's nobody there. I might just, right, okay, Debbie, so why are you feeling like this? What's going on? What do I need to know? What is it I need to know? What's going on for me? Why am I feeling like this? And I might just ruminate a little bit. And it's not about really digging deep, but it's just about trying to get in connection with yourself. What's going on for me? And then, because I've allowed myself a bit of time, I can say, well, actually, things are pretty good. You might think you're having a bad day and things don't never work out for you, but they do work out for you because this worked out for you. And you can do this because you've done this, and just that general gradually bringing yourself up little bit by little bit. Like you say, you can't go from feeling rubbish right to feeling positive joy, because it doesn't work. It's too big a gap. So it's those little baby steps, just encouraging yourself, realizing if you're being aware of criticizing yourself, and just trying to say something that will help you feel better. But once you've tried to assess, well, what's going on for me? Why do I feel like this?
I like that. And if you're having like a really bad moment, I think sometimes it's okay to just say, noted.
Exactly.
Noted. And I'm going to go walk the dog or pet the cat or do something that's completely takes you out of it, because you can't, when you're in the midst of such a heaviness, you're not going to be able to find the solution, or the solutions you find are going to feel like swimming upstream.
Yeah.
And so it's sometimes, I do believe, we can step away, get into a clearer mindset, and then, like you said, then maybe I can revisit it and say, and a lot of times what I find, because I used to toil through it and try to put it all together while I was in that, foggy mindset, and it, that was hard. And what I find now is that if I say, noted, and then I turn away and do something else, as I go throughout my day, somebody might send me something or I'll hear something, but I'm aware that that information now had to do with that thing that I was worried about or, you know, troubled about or criticizing myself for. It'll just come and I'm like, there it is.
It's good, isn't it? Isn't that wonderful how that happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, definitely. So you're absolutely right. Look out for those little synchronicities, things that are trying to tell you what it is that you need to be noticing so you can do something about it.
Absolutely.
This has been so lovely having a conversation with you. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Oh, Debbie, my pleasure. You're amazing. Anytime I can talk to you is a good day.
Hey, so are you. This is wonderful. So thank you so much for your time.
Should I pour you a card?
Go on then. Yes, that'd be lovely.
So these are Louise Hay's Power Thought cards. So these are great, especially when you're looking for that message or you need some affirmation and you don't know what it is. All right, so we have, you gotta be kidding me. I'm telling you, I did not do this on purpose.
What's it say? I release all...
The universe is always talking to us, okay?
Wow.
So then on the other side, it says, I only give out that which I wish to receive in return.
Well,
My love and acceptance of others is mirrored to me in every moment.
wow.
Wow is right. You know, you can't make this stuff up. I tell people all the time in this type of work, you can't make this up.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Look, there's a whole stack of them. I was just sorting through and I picked one, so.
Yay. Well, you couldn't have picked a better one.
There it
Thank
is.
you so much. That's lovely words of wisdom.
Thank you.
You take care, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Absolutely.
Take care. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.